To start off, I want to request our speakers of this session, Mr. Vikrant Mohan sir, President of All India Automobile Workshop Association, to kindly come on stage. Mr. Arindam Lahiri sir, Chief Executive Officer of Automotive Skills Development Council of India, has been an instrumental person behind driving skill development in the sector. Mr. Kartikey, President, UP State RVSF Association, one of the young dynamic leader in the space now. I also want to invite Mr. Kartick Nagpal, President Rosemerta. Kartick sir, please come here. So, and then Mr. Saurabh Agarwal, Ganganagar, Vaahan, Udyog. Saurabh sir, if you're there, please. Mr. Jagdish Prasad, Vice President MTC Business, and Mr. Sanjeev Jain, V.Ventures. Mr. Sanjeev Jain, I also request to kindly come on stage. Mr. Gopal Krishnan sir, kindly come on stage. Inaugural session, we heard about the policy, what the policy stands for, how the policy supports different stakeholders. The first session, post-lunch, we heard from our OEM partners and from NetTrex and also from Niti Aayog in terms of how the supporting stakeholder organizations can play the role, what role are they playing, and what are the perspectives of the OEM. Now, the real hero of the actually entire, or the real nucleus of the entire policy drive that has to be driven are the RVSFs or recyclers, whomsoever we term them, because they would be the real pillar behind implementing the policy. We will hear from them what their perspectives are, and we are noting all the important points. To start off, we will go one by one, just like the previous session. I will go by the sequence that I have in the hand. First, I will request All India Automotive Workshops Association, since they will also play a very important role in the space. Vikrant Mohan sir, the National President, to kindly address.
I come from Hyderabad, और वहाँ पे एक बड़ी अच्छी कहावत होती है, बेगानी शादी में अब्दुल्ला दीवाना. तो जब मुझे बुलाया गया था, दिमाग में बड़ा अच्छा एक तस्वीर उतरी हुई थी. यहाँ पे आया, सब कुछ सुना, वो तस्वीर एक तरफ हो गई और एक नई सीन सामने आ गया. तो बड़ी थोड़ी सी मुझे हैरानी हुई कि जो पॉलिसी बन रही हैं और जिनको शामिल किया गया है, काफ़ी तकलीफ में लगते हैं. जब तक मिनिस्टर जी बैठे थे, बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा था, क्योंकि हमने दूसरी तरफ को सुना ही नहीं था. बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा था. मैं भी सोच रहा था यार मैं भी कुछ करूं इसके बारे में. तो जब सेशन शुरू हुए और जब इतने नौजवान इस इंडस्ट्री में जो अपने नारंग जी बोल के गए ना, पैशनेट, बड़ा अच्छा लगा मुझे. बड़ा पैशनेट है, यंग बच्चे यहाँ पे हमारे हैदराबाद में भी 2 लोगों ने खोला है, बड़े यंग बच्चे हैं. तो ऐसा लगता है कभी कभी कि इनको कोई तस्वीर अलग दिखाई गई थी और उसके पीछे जो हकीकत है वो कोई और है, कुछ और है. ये अक्सर ऑटोमोबाइल लाइन में होता है, कोई नई चीज़ नहीं है. ऑटोमोबाइल लाइन एक बहुत चैलेंजिंग लाइन है और मिनिस्टर जी बोल के गए कि ऑटोमोबाइल इज़ द इंडस्ट्री दैट कंट्रीब्यूट्स द मैक्सिमम रेवेन्यू टू द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. अगर इतनी रिकग्निशन है तो ध्यान रखें उसका. स्क्रैप पॉलिसी ला लिया. एक ज़माना था कि दादाजी की गाड़ी पिताजी चलाते थे और हम उनको ध्यान से रखते थे, और आज ये ज़माना आ गया है कि वो एक जनरेशन भी गाड़ी नहीं चला सकता. 10 साल 15 साल. हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी ये बड़ी है. हम अपने आप को इस चीज़ का क्या बोलते हैं, अपने आप को पैट करते हैं कि भाई देखो कितनी ज़बरदस्त टेक्नोलॉजी हमारी बढ़ गई है. मतलब आज की गाड़ी अगर बन रही है तो पुराने ज़माने के हिसाब से तो काफ़ी लंबी चलनी चाहिए थी. इतनी जल्दी स्क्रैप में क्यों आ रही है? और जब अगर हम स्क्रैप की बात करते हैं, किस हिसाब से स्क्रैप की बात करते हैं? 10 साल कहीं है, कहीं 15 साल है। स्क्रैप करें या रिसाइकिल करें? और जब अगर स्क्रैप करनी है गाड़ी को, तो किस मुद्दे पे गाड़ी को स्क्रैप किया जाता है, किस लिए? वाई वी स्क्रैप अ व्हीकल? एंड द सिंगल आंसर इज कि भाई पोल्यूशन करती है, सिर्फ पोल्यूशन करती है, तो इसलिए हम उसको स्क्रैप करते हैं। तो भाई जब गाड़ी के टायर बदले जा सकते हैं, बैटरी बदल जा सकती है, तो क्या इंजन नहीं बदला जा सकता? वो गाड़ी जिस बंदे ने 10 से 15 लाख रुपया मिनिमम लेके गाड़ी खरीदी है, इस्तेमाल कर रहा है, उसको ये भी एक ऑप्शन दे देना चाहिए। बाकी सब ऑप्शन दे रहे हैं, चलो बड़ी अच्छी बात है, लेकिन ये भी अगर एक ऑप्शन दे दिया जाए कि भाई आप टायर और बैटरी की तरह अगर आप इंजन भी नया मॉडर्न इंजन लगा के सूट करके, या उसी आइस गाड़ी को अगर आप इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजन लगाएं या कन्वर्ट कर दें, तो और अच्छी बड़ी बात होगी, इंकरेजर न्यूज़ होगी, क्योंकि वो बंदा वो गाड़ी तो 10-15 साल चला रहा है, उसको हमेशा के लिए अच्छा मेंटेन करके रखेगा। ये नहीं कि 10 साल की गाड़ी है, 15 साल की गाड़ी है और 8 साल में ही फॉरगेट्स मेंटेनिंग द व्हीकल, इससे टायर खराब हो रहे हैं, चलने दे यार, 2 साल में खत्म हो रहे हैं, चलने दे, घसीटने दे, ब्रेक बराबर काम नहीं कर रही, चलने दे यार, गाड़ी अभी स्क्रैप करनी है। सो दैट मीन्स आफ्टर 8 years वी आर गोइंग टू हैव व्हीकल्स ऑन द रोड विच आर नॉट रोड वर्दी, which are bound to make accidents, take out the lives of others. तो ऐसे कुछ पॉइंट मेरे नज़र आ रहे थे। मैं तो बड़ा खुश था सर जब मैं आया था यहाँ पे, बदलाया गया, तो मैं बहुत आभारी था इनका। विंटेज कार्स, वी हैव लॉट ऑफ विंटेज कार्स, एवरी स्मॉल स्टेट हैज ह्यूज विंटेज कार्स। उनके बारे में क्या ख्याल है, वो भी स्क्रैप करेंगे? तो थोड़ा पॉलिसी को ना थोड़ा फ्लेक्सिबल होना चाहिए। हाँ, अगर गाड़ी मेंटेन नहीं करी, जैसे पहले पैनलों ने बड़ा अच्छा डिस्कशन किया, ये अपने भारती जी थे, बड़ा कुछ बात कुछ समझ में आ रही थी कि हाँ भाई चलो ठीक है, गाड़ी को एक मौका, 2 मौका, तीसरा मौका दीजिए ठीक होने के लिए, चलती है तो चलने दीजिए, क्यों किसी की मेहनत के पैसे खराब करते हैं आप? तो ये मेरे थोड़े कुछ सुझाव थे जो मेरे मन में चल रहे थे। शायद मैंने कुछ गलत बोला या क्या बोला मुझे समझ में नहीं आता, लेकिन जो हम सर ग्राउंड ज़ीरो से बिलोंग करते हैं। आप लोग यहाँ पे कई लोग बैठे हुए हैं यहाँ पे, जो पॉलिसी मेकर्स हैं, व्हीकल मेकर्स हैं, ऑटोमोबाइल पार्ट मेकर्स हैं, बट आई रिप्रेजेंट ए कम्युनिटी जो वहाँ ग्राउंड में बैठ के गाड़ियों पे काम करती है, जो ओनर्स होते हैं उनके दिल का हाल सुनती है, क्या चल रहा है, मेंटेनेंस के ऊपर, लेबर के ऊपर 18% जीएसटी, स्पेयर पार्ट्स के ऊपर 28% जीएसटी। बंदा गाड़ी मेंटेन करे या ना करे?
Thank you so much, sir. Uh, you, you brought the exactly opposite side of the table to the point. So, but we must hear every views, every perspective. So, may I now moving forward? May I request Mr. Arindam Lahiri, sir, CEO, Automotive Skill Development Council.
Thank you, Akram. And some parts of it I'll echo with what Vikrant has said, that I was always wondering that what would skill development have in this area. But honestly, you know, this is about 2 years back when I spent a full day in one of the registered vehicle scrappage facility to understand what is the kind of skill requirements that are there. And we as an organization, which is like a nodal organization, which works on standards for skilling, reskilling and upskilling in this country, and specifically for the automotive sector, wanted to bring in a course curriculum so that we can teach people how to do vehicle end of life, disassembly or dismantling and segregation perspective. So while we have that course, it's not that we have any major number of takers on this course as of now. And it's linked to what is happening around in the industry. I'm sure there are lots of pros and cons on either side of the argument, and I'm sure this new space which will work out, internationally, this model works. Maybe we have terminology-wise, we have used the word scrapping, which probably is a little harsh. I would say if we can change this to a vehicle recycling policy, which can have different use cases, it might have a better connotation. Refurbished materials which come out of the whole dismantling process. I wouldn't say scrapping process, but a dismantling process. Many of them can be used, and I was looking at Nitinji's presentation earlier today that this is one of the areas that you are all working on, and I think it will be very important to work on this because there is a requirement of that part at some part of the country, and then it is available in another part of the country, and how do you match it? So some kind of an exchange will be required. One of the areas where, as an organization which is into skill development, where we work with a large number of learners, we annually touch more than 2 lakh learners learning various skill development programs on automotive sector. We'll be quite happy to bring in the perspective of vehicle recycling or vehicle dismantling or vehicle scrapping, whatever we intend to call it, to this community, because this community itself has the power to bring in huge amount of awareness into the marketplace. And we could do it very simply. There are new technologies which we promote through our various learning management system, which are available on our website, which get accessed by more than 1 lakh registered learners on an annualized basis. It could be a platform that you might want to decide to use to reach out to these people, to let them know about these facilities, where are they located, and where people can get benefits out of this, and what really are the benefits. I think every concept that we bring into the table has to have a market value, a market mechanism, a market economics attached to it. No amount of policy honestly is going to make a change, and in skill development itself we face the same thing, where skilling in this country is not considered to be aspirational. But today when we move people who are experienced people, who are skilled people, and they start traveling across the globe to be part of the global workforce, I think there is a certain amount of aspiration that's coming back to this segment, and that is what, as a body, as a national body, one can look to do, that it has to make sense to the marketplace, the way we work on it. It just cannot be based on a danda, that ye aise hi karoge tabhi chalega aur nahi to nahi chalega. It has to come from within, and that requires certain amount of tenacity in terms of building awareness, building aspiration, building a perspective around the value that one can offer. And it is not just a compliance issue. I'll give you one last example before I conclude. In this country, there is a concept which is called an apprenticeship, and it's not a very popular concept. The whole country till about 2018 was doing 2 lakh apprentices, just 2 lakh apprentices across all sectors of business. That is when the government decided to involve councils like us, which are independent autonomous bodies, into administration and promotion and awareness of apprentices. And when we started working on this from 2018, and today we are about 5 years, 2023, we've touched an annual volume of 10 lakh apprentices in this country. So we've grown 5-folds. We can still grow a huge number. There is a huge potential of that. But the fact is we've made that journey. We've started on that journey. So on this, I would say that we will need to ensure that what works for the marketplace, are we able to offer that? do we have a tone and manner? I heard such a son talk about it, that he faced this experience where he felt that somebody is wanting to say no. So some bit of a culture change there, some bit of a training, some bit of an orientation, these will be required. And as ASDC, we will be quite happy to see how we can play a role in that. Thank you very much.
Moving ahead, now we'll go to straight our RVSFs. So to start off, Kartikey Garg, to kindly give your remarks. The President of UP State RVSFs Association.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mehta, for again organizing this. Thank you, Mr. Amar. Thank you, Mr. Pramod, to coordinate this event. Thank you, Mr. Vikrant, for your kind words. I think so. I'm the first RVSF to talk about the issues, which clearly everyone सबके चेहरे पे दिख रहा है यहाँ, जो यही सुनने आए हैं. So without further ado, मैं थोड़े बोलूँगा because मैंने पूरी list बनाई थी, but I don't think so I'll have the time to take it forward. However, like earlier stated by other signatories that had come to this podium, they stated that this is a central policy that has to be implemented by the state policies, and every state has its own autonomy. So आप यहाँ जितने भी लोग all over India से आए हैं, they will probably have the same problems and additional problems to their states as well. जैसे I talk about UP. So what additional problems do UP have? UP has an additional problem, so we are all attending this event to launch the Digi ELV. Yeah? Digi ELV is a platform to trade CODs. Now guess what? Trading CODs is not possible in UP right now. That is the biggest flaw. And this shows that every state has a different problem matrix altogether. But however, let me take this opportunity to briefly mention out a few, because there are many in queue who would probably emphasize on that. I'm pretty sure when I talk about the issues, I talk about in terms of a collective issue. I'm not talking about myself. I talk about a collective issue. So first and foremost, when people stated that these illegal scrappers don't possess any problem, I strictly disagree with that. Now, when we are setting up RVSFs, a government expects us to put in a substantial amount of resources which need to be countered by the revenue that has to be flowed in. Now, जैसे विक्रांत सर ने बोला कि हम लोग को एक पिक्चर दिखाई गई थी, जो पिक्चर दिखाने पे और इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पे ज़मीन आसमां का फ़र्क है. So the revenue flow for our end and the raw material flow of our end is missing because these illegal scrappers possess a faster mechanism because they don't check any documents. They possess no operational cost. Itni si jagah pe I think so they can cut around 4-5 trucks at a go, which is not possible for us. I talk about myself, my facility is around 12 bigas. So that is somewhere around 7 to 8 acres. So we have put in the amount of resources where we cannot do all of this. Secondly, there is a very big connectivity problem when you talk about RVSFs. The delay in these document verifications is because we don't have proper access, or the portals which have been provided to us like Vaahan, NCRB, they do not function to its effectivity. Like the productivity of these portals is abstract. Sometimes, as earlier stated by a fellow member, he was facing problems in generating CODs. He was facing problems in getting these verifications done. So these are general problems that everyone is facing. All the RVSFs, mota-moti, sab ek hi type ki problems hai, sab kuch hai, and the state-wise, it differs. Where I really appreciate a Kerala state policy, I really appreciate a Maharashtra state policy, whereas अगर आप बात करते हैं 45 RVSFs या 60 RVSFs की, तो यूपी में उसके आधे हैं. Why? Because there is no stringent policy. Maharashtra has only 2 RVSFs allotted based on the kind of resources a person has to offer. Now, not everyone or anyone is feasible to put this, because all the environmental issues, all the industry issues are meant to be sorted out through this. एक चैनल फॉलो करना है, एक जीएसटी रेवेन्यू जनरेट करनी है हम लोग के थ्रू, तो वो तभी हो पाएगा जब ईआरपीज और एमएनसीज सपोर्ट करेंगे हम लोग को. Now moving on to the other problem is, as earlier stated by a member of this August House, is the age limit. So one of the major loopholes between age limit is that RTOs re-register a vehicle for plus 5 years. But however, on the Central Motors Vehicles Act, whenever a person is supposed to get a fitness done, 2 साल से ज़्यादा का fitness certificate नहीं दे सकते आप. So how does this match to the re-registration done by the RTO, which was of 5 years? So this doesn't get along. A government has to give us a policy which states clearly कि इतने साल के बाद ये vehicle scrap होनी ही होनी है. Then on top of that, auctions. Now we are basing our entire, what I feel, commercial vehicles in the government is the way to sustain ourselves right now. Private की गाड़ियाँ तो नहीं मिलेगी हम लोग को. If we are being optimistic that we'll get private vehicles through enforcement, then I'm very sorry. That is not going to happen anytime soon. However, there has been a guideline that has been flown across, जिसमें 15 साल से पुरानी government vehicles are to be scrapped. Now, for that, there is one issue that we are facing is anyone and everyone is allowed to auction for these vehicles. Now, then again the game comes in illegal and legal scrappers. Who is allowed to scrap? Now, if we are competing with them, we will not be able to sustain. However, there are benefits which are being offered. That gets me to the other point. जो benefits government offer कर रही है, what is the implementation on the ground level? Are the RTOs given the proper training to do this? Are the road tax exemptions that are going through this policy? I'm very sure there are a few places that's happening, but majority of places it's not been implemented. And once a RVSF claims कि these are the benefits and the government does not adhere to the benefits, हम लोग की credibility down होती है. Our credibility is that goes down the drain. So what I believe is through MRAI or any other association that is being formed, they should together and collectively go together towards policy making. Instead of going individually and posing, I don't know, n number of points, which are endless probably, we should go together and solve these problems. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Kartikey, Garg. May I now, moving ahead, I will invite Mr. Kartick Nagpal, President, Rosemerta Auto Recycling, to kindly share your views.
Good evening, guys. First off, I want to start with appreciating the central government and specifically Morth in, improving the concept of circularity and getting the RVSF policy off the ground. The Vaahan integration with RVSF has been relatively smooth. That has been my experience. And I want to congratulate the MMCM team for the launch of Digi-ELV. It's a remarkable platform and it is going to have a significant contribution in the significant contribution in improving, the RVSF problems that we are having. It's going to help the ELV owners to realize the value of the COD without actually having to buy a new vehicle. That is one of the big things. And this is actually going to help the RVSFs in decreasing their acquisition costs. So I think Digi-ELV is going to play a major role in, improving and fostering growth in the RVSF industry. In terms of our expectations from the policy, I think I can talk about, and I think I will be able to echo the sentiments of the RVSFs nationwide when I say a lot has to be done and can be done by the government. Now, it's a new industry, so it needs to have dedicated support. It is necessary to have that dedicated support so that the industry can stand on its own 2 legs, And I think that is very important. Like Kartikey said, like a lot of other people have been talking about, there are numerous things that can be done and should be done. But I only want to focus on a few 4 or 5 things that I feel can be done immediately, rather than talking about changing the constitution and all that. That is very hard. Putting a life on the vehicles, etc. Then the public will think that the government is autocratic, etc. So I feel I have 4 or 5 initiatives, problem solutions that as an RVSF owner I am facing, if implemented, will really help us. Because I know everyone is negative right now, net negative in the ground. And there is no road to profitability. But if these are implemented, there is a road to profitability. There is a path towards improvement. Because when I talk to MCM, when I talk to SIAM, when I talk to MRAI, I'm very positive that this can happen. And because it's a new initiative, if all of us can steer the policy in the right way, that is the only way this can grow. So the number one initiative I feel is education and awareness. Still, there is a lack of public awareness regarding the advantages of selling your ELV to RVSFs. Right now, many individuals are selling their ELV either out of state or to unauthorized scrappers, right? Without realizing the harm that they're doing to the environment, without realizing the risk they're running by not deregistering their vehicles and selling it to an unauthorized scrapper. So there really need to be a positive campaign towards this so that the public is aware of what they're doing. Because like in everything else, the stakeholders, the public is the largest stakeholder and public needs to take responsibility for this. We can talk about government bringing fiscal incentives, we can talk about everything else. But if today any one of us is asked to sell our own ELV at scrap rates, we are going to get heartburn. Every one of us is going to get a heartburn. When we ask, यार ये अपनी गाड़ी है, आपकी 1000 किलो की गाड़ी है, scrap के भाव में भेज दो. Everyone, everybody, right? So awareness is very, very important because, and the cultural mindset change is needed. Because like Mr. Mohan said, we are coming from a culture where grandfather's car is given to the father, father's car is given there, but now the culture needs to change. Because right now we are, absolutely abusing the environment. The new technology that has come, the new emission norms that have come are much better than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. So we do really need to scrap the vehicle and we need to go on a fleet modernization drive. This is going to not only help the environment, it's going to help the economy as well, right? So it's a big win for all the stakeholders. That is why the recycling policy is there, not only just to do that. The second thing is implementation of the benefits. Now the government has announced the incentives with the states for the ELV owners that sell the vehicle through the RVSF, through the CDs, right? But they're not being implemented right now in most of the states. So if they're actually implemented, if the COD gets value, if the ELV owner gets the additional money that the government has promised them, then it's going to help the ELV owners as well as the RVSFs alike, because again, it's going to bring down the acquisition cost. All my solutions are based on two things: increasing volume for ELVs and decreasing the acquisition cost of ELVs. Because if these two things happen, we are going to be in a positive growth path. The third thing I want to talk about is the unauthorized scrappers. Now, I understand that this industry has been going on for the last 30, 40 years, but in an informal way. And what this policy aims to do is formalize the informal sector, right? So the option has been there, and there are cases where the informal sector has formalized and has set up centers and is doing it the right way. But still, there are so many pockets where unauthorized scrapping is going on. And I know action is being taken, but more stringent action is needed to take this, to the logical conclusion, right? The fourth, I think, is a very simple one, is logistics cost. Now, globally, RVSFs are taking their ELVs within a 50-kilometer radius due to high inbound logistics cost. But in India, everything is different, right? Because of the low volume of ELVs, all the RVSFs are taking from 100, 150, 200 kilometers also beyond. I have a fight with my team always. They want to take it from bloody Kanyakumari if they can, right? And they have to take it by cranes, etc. Now, if we can just have a simple policy where after you have paid the ELV owner and you have to generate a COD, before that you have to transport the vehicle to the yard. You can just have some small document from Vaahan that takes out, that allows it to be driven down. This is going to save 10-15% of the inbound cost. And it's very simple to, implement. It's not something that needs big changes or government approvals or committee approvals or something like that. And now the fifth one is the selling of deregistered vehicles. Now in any business case that you make, you have to have some vehicle park that you base your business out of. That okay, in X city, there are such vehicle parks that are going to be deregistered or coming up for scrapping in the next 5-10 years, basis which you make a business model. But all of a sudden, you realize that the vehicles that have been deregistered for not 1 year, multiple years, can get the NOC and be sold out of state. That is against the essence of the whole policy. And I urge the central government to look into this here. How are we going to make, what base case are we going to make for setting up a center where if the ELV can get a NOC and be sold out of state? So while we are going the right way, and I'm positive that the ELV recycling policy and the landscape is going to be growing faster, but we really need to pause and actually look at what we are doing and where we are going and steer it the right way. And a lot needs to be done, and I'm sure and I'm very positive when I come to these conferences that we are in the right hands and a lot will be done.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Kartik. And you have emphasized, highlighted the importance of education. And DGELV has already launched education series. I was just reading while you were speaking. They have very, very articulately and strategically put all the, how they are educating the mass, because we need to educate the families, family members, maybe a children who is a college going girl or a boy can influence the family to get the COD and, to get the old vehicle replaced with a new one. So that's again wonderful. A big round of applause for DGELV again for the education series. Moving ahead, may I now request Mr. Saurabh Agarwal, Ganganagar, Vaahan, Udyog, to kindly share your views.
Good evening, everyone. So I think I'll start by first of all saying thanks to both MRAI and MMCM to create this platform for all the RVSFs. I think this is the first time our concerns are being heard by the government, and I'm really thankful to you. And one of my first requests to MRI will be to do this in a more regular fashion, because today a lot of concerns have been heard. Some of them will be resolved, some of them will continue, and some new will come up. So this regular interaction is required, and thanks for doing this, and please continue to do this. I think a lot has been already said by a lot of RVSF owners here, especially Kartick. In a sense of time, I'll try to say those points which have not been said till now. So I think one thing which I also feel is that, at state, like there's a policy which is formed at center. At state level, I come from Rajasthan, the policy is implemented well when customers are getting the benefits. But at state level, there is very limited awareness even with the transport department. So I think there should be a nodal agency, or within the transport department, there should be a designated person who will be able to help RVSFs create awareness, who will be able to help train their own RTOs, inspectors, be more aware of the policy and how it benefits. Second thing is that wherever there is an operational RVSF, RTOs are still cancelling RCs. Now, just understand this. So if RC is getting cancelled, that vehicle is actually getting dismantled somewhere in a non-RVSF or non-illegal fashion. So if these RC cancellations and in those places can be stopped, an RC cancellation automatically, if I generate a COD from my RVSF, RC is automatically cancelled. So that RC cancellation should be stopped. That is one point which I would like to put. I think third point, I think already said, but I'll still repeat it. Uniformity in tax benefits across various states. While central policy has given certain guiding principles, every state is implementing it in a different way. The moment this uniformity comes, the entire voice of making awareness will automatically amplify. So that is, I think, another request to the government. I think one request I'll try to put to CM and OEMs also is that, while, I think I heard them speaking that how to create more awareness. We have a large dealer body, so many auto dealers in every city. And I think on an average, every auto dealer will have 20 to 30 salesmen. And this is the first point where the new customer comes and buys the car, and a lot of the customers sell their scrap cars and old cars at these dealer points. If these sales teams can be made aware, trained, and then in turn they can educate customers about the benefits of the policy, which Kartick said, can actually very easily amplify the entire discussion around the benefits of the policy. So that's my request to CM. And I think last request to MMCM. I think I've used this DGLV platform, it's operational in Rajasthan for a while, and I've said this earlier also. The entire duration of it, so if a new car buyer is looking to buy a COD, and at times there is a long wait period for him to actually get the auction results. So if somehow that can be sorted out, or somehow that can be made quicker, there should be a responsibility on the guy selling to close that thing in a certain stipulated timeline and clarity to the auctioneer or the buyer. That certificate he will get in this stipulated time is very, very essential for the certificate to actually realize its right value. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Saurabh. Moving ahead, Mr. Jagdish Prasad, Vice President, MTC Business.
Good evening, everyone. So, I think my fellow speakers have covered most of the points. But I think we need to build an ecosystem, first of all. This is not a new industry which has come for the first time. This already exists for the last 30, 40 years. People have been dismantling vehicles in every corners of the town, like Mayapuri, Kurla, etc. But only post inception of this policy in September 21, it got a new name called RVSF policy. But today it looks a loss-making venture for all the RVSF for various regions. But going forward, it's going to be a lucrative affair for everyone. But provided we ensure there's a perfect integration between the different stakeholders and clear transmission of policies right from the center to the RTO label. If we remove all the bottlenecks, then going forward, it looks very good for everyone. So my submission here is that a lot of things are happening. Nobody is aware what's to be done at except tier 1, tier 2 cities. If you go to the other tier 3 cities, people don't know what's to be done with their old cars, and they don't know how to derive benefit out of it. They want to contribute towards a sustainable development. They want to come to a recycler, but they don't know where to start from. So that sort of awareness is required. Interstate movement of vehicles. See, if an ELV is an ELV in one state, it should be declared ELV for other states also. But what's happening is, due to lack of policy implementation and strict monitoring of those, the vehicle owners in Delhi, for example, are selling their vehicles to other states. So RVSF based out of NCR are not getting benefit out of it. So there should be a clear-cut, monitored, centrally, specifically mentioned policy has to be there, so that all the stakeholders get benefit out of it. Now, thankfully, we have a platform called DZLV, which is there to integrate and benefit all the COD owners finally. So that kind of more initiatives are required from private parties, which can take this policy, forward.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jagdish sir. Moving ahead, Mr. Sanjeev Jain, V.Ventures.
Good evening, very good evening. First of all, I thank to MMCM for organizing this type of platform, who can listen our problem and let the solution will come. We can expect a solution from our problem and the concern or delay. As my friends have already discussed all the points, but some new points I have, like MSTC, who is the main organizing the sale of vehicles, ELVs. They are welcoming all except ELVs. They are welcoming other scrapper also. The vehicles which are not in functioning, which have surrendered the RTO numbers also, and they are selling to them also, general scrappers. They are not supposed to buy that vehicles. Only RVSF can scrap the vehicle. How can the general scraper can do? It is not allowed. Once the policy has come in the system, how they are being allowed? And second thing, government departments like Agra. I have a brilliant example here. Police department, Agra Police Day. They sold 1340 vehicles in month of October to the general scrappers. And all the vehicles have been surrendered by RTO. No one has been, they can't be drive, they can't be sold to drive. These are the problems.
Thank you.
आप ये समझिए कि जब गवर्नमेंट की ही सपोर्ट नहीं है, तो कैसे हम लोग आगे बढ़ेंगे? हम लोगों ने इसका पैसा लगाया, क्या हमारे खर्चे और एक जनरल स्क्रैपर के खर्चे बराबर है? हम लोगों को जो नॉर्म्स फॉलो करने हैं, हमारे ऊपर जो स्ट्रिक्ट रूल्स है, हम लोगों को जीएसटी भी देना है, 18% जीएसटी. कैसे हम लोग करेंगे? उसको तो ना जीएसटी देना है, ना कुछ करना है. We have competition with them.
Thank you.
In government department, they are supporting them. Secondly, आज अगर हमारे तो कोई व्हीकल खरीदेगा, व्हीकल बेचेगा हमको, क्यों बेचेगा? उसको दो बेनिफिट होने चाहिए. एक तो जो उसको वैल्यू पूरी मिले. सेकंड, हम वैल्यू इसलिए नहीं दे सकते क्योंकि हमारा कंपटीशन है जनरल स्क्रैपर के साथ. हम उसको, हमारे खर्चे बहुत हैं, हम सर्वाइव भी नहीं कर पाएंगे. ऑलरेडी वी आर इन लॉस. सेकेंडली, जो बेनिफिट्स मैं सीओडी साथ में लेकर आया हूँ, सीडी के ऊपर जो बेनिफिट्स लिखे हुए हैं, कोई भी बेनिफिट यूपी के अंदर किसी को नहीं मिला. ऑफिशियली यूपी का आरटीओ डिपार्टमेंट, ट्रांसपोर्ट कमिश्नर ऑफिस बना करता है कि सीओडी कैन नॉट बी ट्रेड. आप बताइए क्या होगा? कस्टमर हम लोगों से फिर लड़ने के लिए आता है कि आपने हमको बोला है, आपने हमको ये कह के दिया है, वेयर इज द बेनिफिट, वेयर आर द बेनिफिट्स? ना तो आरटीओ में अभी तक कोई पॉलिसी आई है, ना वहाँ का सॉफ्टवेयर अलाउ कर रहा है उनको, ना रजिस्ट्रेशन में बेनिफिट है, ना टैक्स के अंदर बेनिफिट है. व्हाट बेनिफिट्स आर दे गेटिंग? एमएससी सपोर्ट करता नहीं है. एमएससी ऑलरेडी जॉइंट वेंचर करके बैठा हुआ है किसी आरबीएसएफ के साथ में.
May I request now Mr. Gopal Krishnan, proprietor, Select Technology Services, to share your views, sir.
अभी बहुत सारा डिस्कस हो रहा है कि आरबीएसएफ गाड़ियाँ स्क्रैप करता है, ये करता है, लेकिन जो सबसे मेन इंपॉर्टेंट इशू है इन माय ओपिनियन, वो डिस्कस नहीं हो रहा कि वाई आरबीएसएफ इज हियर. क्योंकि एक डाटा जो है वो मैनेज हो रहा है. आज से पहले गाड़ियाँ तो शुरू से ही करती आ रही हैं, लेकिन उसका डाटा कहीं पे भी नहीं है. किसी को मालूम ही नहीं है कि कौन सी गाड़ी कहाँ पे कट रही है. हिंदुस्तान में इतनी सारी गाड़ियाँ चोरी होती हैं, इसलिए चोरी होती हैं क्योंकि उसको खपाना बड़ा आसान है. दिल्ली एनसीआर के अंदर सबसे ज़्यादा चोरी की एफआईआर दर्ज होती है, क्योंकि चोरी की गाड़ी बेचना बहुत ईजी है. जैसे सर ने बोला कि आरसी कैंसलेशन जो है वो मैंडेटरी होना चाहिए आरवीएसएफ के थ्रू. वाई? उसके 2-3 रीज़न हैं. अगर मैं आरसी कैंसिल करवाने आरएलए में जाता हूँ, आज की डेट में ऑनलाइन सिस्टम है, ऑनलाइन अपॉइंटमेंट लेनी पड़ती है और मेरे को कम से कम 3 से 4 हफ्ते लगते हैं. पहले अपॉइंटमेंट आएगी, फिर मैं अप्लाई करूँगा, फिर मेरी आरसी कैंसिल होगी. और अगर मैं आरवीएसएफ के पास जाता हूँ, इट टुक ओनली 2 डेज, उसकी आरसी कैंसिल हो जाती है. ना केवल आरसी कैंसिल होती है, उसको सीओडी मिलता है, जिसके ऊपर की उसको डिस्काउंट मिलता है 25% तक का नई गाड़ी लेने पे. अगर मैं आरएलए के थ्रू आरसी कैंसिल कराता हूँ, मेरे को कोई डिस्काउंट नहीं मिलेगा. और अगर ये आरसी कैंसिलेशन आरवीएसएफ के थ्रू होती है, जितना भी मिसयूज हो रहा है गाड़ियों का, वो इमीडिएटली ड्रॉप डाउन हो जाएगा. आई थिंक सो 50% जो चोरी की गाड़ियाँ हो रही हैं, इमीडिएटली वो डाटा आपका नीचे आ जाएगा. एज फार एज अवेयरनेस इज कंसर्न, अवेयरनेस बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. आरवीएसएफ की पॉलिसी को लोगों को तक पता लगे कि पॉलिसी है क्या. हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट ने पॉलिसी में लिखा हुआ है कि जितने भी ओईएम डीलर्स हैं वो अपने यहाँ पे नोट डाउन करेंगे, अवेयरनेस के बैनर्स लगाएंगे, क्या क्या पॉलिसीज़ गवर्नमेंट की हैं और कौन कौन से आरवीएसएफ अवेलेबल हैं उनके एरिया में. लेकिन ओईएम डीलर्स जो हैं आज की डेट में इंटरेस्टेड नहीं है पॉलिसी को अवेयर कराने में, बिकॉज दे आर मोर इंटरेस्टेड कि जो उनके पास एक्सचेंज की गाड़ियाँ आती हैं वो किस तरह से बिकें, वहाँ से उनका प्रॉफिट जनरेशन कैसे हो. वो लोगों से गाड़ियाँ ये लेके बोलते हैं कि जी ये गाड़ी जो है हम एक्सचेंज में ले रहे हैं, इसकी आरसी कैंसिल होगी, लेकिन वो गाड़ी जो है ग्रे मार्केट में बिक जाती है और एज इट इज़ चलती है. देर आर नंबर ऑफ एग्जाम्पल्स विद मी जहाँ पे कि हमने अथॉरिटी के अंदर लोगों ने चैसी नंबर काट के दे दिए, आरसी सरेंडर करा दी, आज भी वो गाड़ी चल रही है और लोगों को उसके चलान भुगतने पड़ रहे हैं. जितनी भी सर इंश्योरेंस की गाड़ियां हैं, लाखों गाड़ियां इंश्योरेंस की टोटल लॉस होती हैं, हर महीने टोटल लॉस क्लेम सेटल होते हैं, और जो टोटल लॉस गाड़ियां हैं वो सारी ग्रे मार्केट में जाती हैं. प्राइवेट इंश्योरेंस कंपनी जो हैं वो आज भी विद आरसी गाड़ी बेचती है, रीबिल्ड करके बेचती है, लेकिन वो सब स्टैंडर्ड रिपेयर होती हैं, क्योंकि जितनी भी गाड़ियाँ टोटल लॉस डिक्लेयर होती हैं उन सब के एयर बैग निकल चुके होते हैं 70 to 80% गाड़ियों के. और जब वो गाड़ियाँ रीबिल्ड होती हैं, कोई भी गाड़ी रोड स्टैंडर्ड वो उसके ऊपर सेफ्टी के ऊपर कभी गाड़ी वो रिपेयर नहीं होती, वो चोरी की गाड़ियों से नंबर प्लेट एक्सचेंज होते हैं. दे शुड बी स्टॉप्ड इमीडिएटली. अगर वो गाड़ी आरवीएसएफ में आएगी, उसका प्रॉपर रिकॉर्ड मेंटेन होगा, कोई भी गाड़ी जो है वो मिसयूज़ नहीं हो पाएगी. तो जो आरवीएसएफ का रोल है सिर्फ गाड़ी स्क्रैप करना नहीं है, आरवीएसएफ का रोल इससे कहीं ज़्यादा है. तो अगर आप हमारी बात वहाँ तक पहुँचा सकें सर, सिर्फ ये आरसी कैंसिलेशन ही आप करवा दें, उससे बहुत सारी, एक तो आरवीएसएफ को हेल्प हो जाएगी और साथ के साथ जो गाड़ियाँ चोरी हो रही हैं वो होनी कम हो जाएंगी. थैंक यू सो मच सर.
I think with this we have a lot of points and repetition of a lot of many important points out of the discussion. I think with this we come to the end of today's session. For a group photo, Amar sir.